Mic check.
What's going on, Wolf?
What's up, Wolf? You been all right?
Yeah, I've been good, man. I've been good. Thank you for everything.
Oh, man, appreciate you, bro. How everybody doing tonight? We're gonna do this training. This is gonna be a training catered toward um our new recruits that came in between November and December. We just want to make sure we always touching bases on the fundamentals. And even if you already experienced, you normally catch things. Stuff sound different after you been trading for a while with the wolf chart. Some things that went over your head early on, you start picking up on them. So I just want to cover the basics and more so talk about right now, what are you supposed to be doing with your time while you're trying to earn money, while you're learning the new system. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in a second. So I'll leave them on there. Let's see. All right, so I'm turning some of these things off, not because some of you all may have different trading view plans. Some people may have the free version, some people may have plus where you can have 5 indicators. I have a lot of separate indicators, not because the wolf chart needs them, but when people has other slots for indicators, we try to find things that complement the system because when you're trading, it's all about having that foundational confirmation system that you're using. But sometimes you want to add other layers of confirmation, but you want the layers to always complement the dominant indicators. So on the wolf chart, you know, primarily we're looking at the WTMA as an early entry mechanism for our confirmation system. And we're looking at these diagonal lines here, these trend lines, as momentum entries to show us when we're going to get continuation. And we're using this 12 cloud, which is the blue and red cloud, and then this yellow and red cloud, which is the 200, so that we can see the trend as it's shifting and changing within the chart. So we lean on those as our foundational pillars to the wolf chart system because when you're trading different styles of trading, whether you're doing leaps, whether you're doing swing trades, whether you're scalping, with this baseline right here that you see right in front of you, with just these, we're covering very fast trades, whether you're on the 5 minute, 3 minute, 30-second chart. You can scalp using the WTMA and seeing where your order blocks are and things like that. And then the 12 cloud takes care of our short term trend, which is because it's only looking at 12 candles. That's why it's the 12 cloud, because it's looking at 12 candles, the 12 previous candles to dictate what the short term trend is. And then this 200 cloud, which is the one that flips between red and yellow, shows us if the stock is in a bullish trend or a bearish trend. So just from looking at SoFi right here, we can see that when we're under the 12 cloud, so when this cloud is red and stock candles are holding under it, the stock is in a bearish trend. So what does that mean? That means that you have a higher probability of making monies buying puts, or if you're buying shares, if you're using the wolf chart and say you're only buying shares of the wolf chart, that's just letting you know that that stock is in position to pull back down to support. If you're not playing any puts, but when this 200 cloud is red, especially when it's like on a 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, 1 week, the stock is in a bear trend. And so we see that. Let's go look at Meta for a second. And I just want to get you all familiar with um, what shows us the trend right off the bat. So for a while, people were buying calls on Meta. Um, and we were trying to time the bottom on Meta and things like that. Coach had this level right here marked out between 595 and 580, which was the level where I said, okay, this is where I buy my shares at, where I get in my long dated contracts on Meta down in this range because it had so much higher time frame concentration here, I felt comfortable playing meta if it came down into this range right here. However, you can kind of see, like, I think with Chuvy, he's been rinsing and repeating meta, buying calls and buying puts. But look at it stuck inside of this range. We can see the chop area that meta is in. So every time meta tries to break out, it kind of comes back down. But now it's finally reclaimed the 200 cloud on the 1 hour time frame, right? So down here, when Meta lost the 200, you see how Meta's just been in that downtrend because overall the stock is bearish on the 1 hour. But the thing that made it extremely bearish is that when you go to the daily time frame, this is why it got extremely bearish. So it lost it after earnings. It dropped and gapped down, but it gapped down and it opened and closed a full bearish candle under that 200. Prior to that, when it was above the 200 and it was yellow, it's constantly in this uptrend. Even on these pullbacks, this is a buy the dip type of moment for Meta, right? Because it's pulling back, it's retesting the short term trend, which is our 200 cloud, this blue cloud. It's just pulling back, retesting, and pulling back for a second. It's in the uptrend. But you see how once this 12 cloud is red and the 200 clouds, but they both red at the same time, that's extremely bearish for a stock, right? So if you really pay attention to what's happening and how these moving averages work together, we have the WTMA because this gives us an advantage that other traders don't have in the fact that it lets us see exactly when they're moving money into Meta, right? So when everybody was bearish on Meta, you see how these candles start creeping. Like these, it's extremely bearish right here, right? But when these candles start getting into the inside of the WTMA, that means that they're slowly trying to move money. And then we got this crossover down here. So we got a lock candle. That means that a candle open and closed above this lime green wolf trend moving average line. This is our fastest moving average. And it crossed over while it was above this green line. That was the first signal to let us know that they were moving real money in real time into Meta. Okay. And so you see after it did that, then it got above the 200. I mean above the 12, which is our short term trend. And now, even though it's pushed up and it's did some, some nice things and price action, it didn't shot down, it didn't shot up from 600 and touched 700 and things like that. I didn't even witness this wick, but it's on the charts. I didn't see it pop all the way to 709. But anyway, it has this wick on the chart. I didn't witness it doing that. But anyway, once we got above the fastest moving average, then we see that we then got above our second fastest moving average, which is our 12 cloud. And now ultimately it's trying to get over what the 200 cloud. Anytime a stock gets under the 200, it's trying its best to get back above the 200 to get back into a bullish trend. And so right now, what we're waiting on, how do we know when Meta is really going to be in a sustained move higher? We'll see this 12 cloud get back above this red cloud. And you'll see this red cloud, this 200 cloud, turn yellow. And then we'll know, you'll see the same thing that happened here. You'll see it's bearish. We got back above the WTMA first. Then we got above the 12 cloud second. And then we were trying to get above the 200, trying to get above the 200. And then this blue cloud is going to cross over this this red cloud. And you want to see this kind of stay blue, just flip to yellow. And then you know that Meta is ready to try to do its thing and push up in a sustainable way, right? And so when you pay attention to how the chart is layered in phases of how smart money enters into a trade. They're buying their heavy position here. They're going to add here. Then once we get above the 200, they're going to add again. It's going to keep on getting into this buy the dip uptrend situation. So with the wolf chart, we're using these confirmations in like a phase based layer. So in phase zero, right? We're looking for the liquidity part of it to line up and make sense. So the WTMA is not just a moving average. You can look at it as more so of a liquidity engine. And so when we talk about this word liquidity, everybody throwing around, it's just where pools of money are sitting at. And so institutions, we look at price action as retail traders, but institutions they push price toward liquidity. And the reason why they do that is the reason why even why coach said, okay, this is a high interest area for to get inside of meta. If you're just going to wait on time to buy the dip, between this range, it's going to be, where they're going to buy in at. The reason why I could see that ahead of time, even before the WTMA got down here, is the volume profile that we use. This volume profile, it where these areas stick out, that shows us where high concentrated volume is, where price is. So sometimes you'll see volume at the bottom of your chart. Okay. So at the bottom of your chart, you will see volume, right? Just it looks just like this, right? So let's put some volume on the chart. It's on regular volume. Okay, so now we all used to seeing this volume, right? These red candles and green candles at the bottom of the chart. What you want to understand about this volume is right under this volume, what do you see? You see dates, right? You see this date for this bar is this volume happened on uh December 19th, right? And this volume bar happened on December 18th. And so it's telling you, even if you go down to the lower time frames, what day, what time did volume come in overall in the stock? And what type of volume was it? Was it bearish volume? Was it bullish volume? So this volume down here gives you the time. This is when volume came in on this day. Okay. So they're just telling you that volume was there on this day in this time. Over here, what's behind this? Price. So why is the VRVP so potent and important? Because the VRP shows you not when volume came in, but at what price did they come in with volume? At what price were they buying heavy? Where is the liquidity sitting at, and where is no liquidity at? So where is it? Where parts of the chart can a stock just explode up or drop down really fast? So when we use the VRVP, what I found out from trading is that I could leverage this volume at price, because when I go to my weekly chart, let's go to the weekly chart on Meta. You see, we have an order block down here, but why did Coach know that Meta was gonna come down here, grab liquidity? If it was gonna grab liquidity after dropping like this, look at this whole volume profile on Meta. Let me zoom all the way out so you can see this volume profile. So it has a lot of. I knew it wouldn't come down here, right? So when I went back and looked, even back to 2023, this was going to be a level and an order block. It was going to be very difficult for Meta to just get pushed through. And I also had to put my mindset in the mind of an institutional investor. Where are they going to come in at? And so we got an order block here that's telling us that this is where they're going to defend at. We have the VRVP sitting here showing us this is where they're going to defend at. And then we have our liquidity engine. We have the WTMA that has arc twice, a bearish arc and then a bullish arc that took us up from what's this 588 in price all the way up to $740. So with all that confluence right there, that's why I had these numbers being here way before Meta ever got down to 591 and in this area. And so we can see using that VRVP, our order blocks, our WTMA, where the liquidity was, but we can also see using the Wolf chart, right? We can also see something else very important that you hear this term thrown out a lot. We have an A plus trade coming up. This trade is in the A plus trade setup. And when you hear that, when coach said, I'm not saying it because, saying of well, I'm saying it because of a few things. When I see an A plus trade, now this trade right here is in an A plus trade range, but it has the 200 cloud blocking it from just taking it. Now it popped through here. I mean, I didn't catch, like I said, I didn't catch this candle, but it popped through here once before. But you see how there's all we call these imps. So each one of these little lines that you see how we had this blue volume and then we got this black volume, but all these little bars that I'm touching, these little volume bars right here, these are called nodes. And so when you see these volume nodes sticking out like this, these nodes represent volume, right? And so when you see no nodes, what does it mean? There's no volume here. So this right here means that when price gets into this range, this little gap right here, the stock price can move with extreme speed. Hence this gap, this little wick right here, right? It can shoot up really quick in that range, or it can drop really fast in this range because there's not much support or resistance from a volume perspective. But also on every wolf chart, we have these black lines on our chart that's built already. These support and resistant lines, and I'm gonna hide my drawings right quick so you can see just the regular lines that come on the chart. You see how we have this thick line here, then we have a thinner line right here, then we have another line. These gaps between these lines are what lets you know that you're in an A plus trade. And so why does coach use the VRVP with that? Because this just gives me an extra layer of confirmation and confluence that yes, there is an easy trade between 721.62 and 750, right? Or 748. Because not only does historical support and resistance lines show that there's a gap between here, also the VRVP showing that once it breaks above 715 and it starts holding above 722, it can easily shoot up in that range. Not only do I look at that, but you can just look to the left of the chart and you see that both times Meta's got, look at these big gaps between these ranges and look how Meta's price is pushing up, and it's pushing up. So I'm not picking on Meta just because I'm thinking Meta is the best stock in the world right now. I'm just saying, just for teaching purposes, our historical support and resistance lines on the chart also coincide with how the VRVP is open when it's showing these same gaps. And the reason why historically there's no support and resistance lines here is because there's a lack of volume in these areas. So in trading, you hear people say this area is illiquid, right? So that means that if Meta sitting at 750 and it starts holding under 741, 750, then it can easily drop back down $20. And then if it starts holding under 712, it can easily drop down from 712 down to like under $700 pretty easy. It has a one layer of protection on a daily time frame at 691, but it can easily drop. And you look at its price action in the past, it does just that, right? Once it gets under these resistant lines, it can easily drop. Or if it breaks above this historic, you see how we had this big gap and how fast the price moved up and moved down between these support and resistant layers. So, what does all this mean when you're trying to enter and exit a trade using the wolf chart? So, in simple terms, after you get a confirmation, what do you need? So, is it good enough just to get confirmation that the stock price is about to try to go up? No, that's the first step. You want to know that price is about to go up, but you also want to know that price can go up and hit a level where I can make some money. So if we go look at that, like let's look at Tesla for an example, because Tesla's been dropping back down. And if we look at Tesla on like a 15-minute chart, so let's look at Tesla on a 15-minute time frame. We're in this downtrend, right? We just lost the 200, right? But you see how, let's move this chart over to the left. I mean to the right, and we can look over here, right? I'm gonna turn my VRVP off for a second, so we can focus on these lines. So this is what'll help you to know when you can get into when the trade setup looks good. So you see between this thicker historical support and resistance line. So the thicker the line, the stronger the support or resistance, right? So here between 466.29 and 473, that's a really nice trade range where you can make some decent money. But you see how now these lines are getting kind of close between 480, and then you got a $3 move down to 476. Then you got a from 476, I'm a 470, you might well call that 477. From 477 down to 473, that's a $4 move. And then you got this little tight range between 480.50 and 481.80, right? And so if you look at price, you see how price pushed down, hit that level, wicked off of it, hit that level, bounced back down. It's ping ponging in this range. It pushed up, hit 480.50, pushed back down, hit this level, dropped like $3. But this is happening in like 15-minute candles. So if you're scalping, that's decent for scalps. But where's the A plus trade set up at in this one right here? What's the big trade? When you break above 482, you can easily get up to what 490. So that's an $8 move that you can take your time with. When you break 473.84, you can easily drop down to 466. This right here is more choppy. Even though you got a decent range, $4. If you're scalping, you can do that. You can make those moves. But you see how once we drop back down in this little choppier range, out of this range. So look at this room. You got an inverse. I mean, you got a bearish arc, but look at you have actual range right here. So from this bearish arc, from this support line, I mean, from this resistance line down to this big support line, you got like $5, $6, right? So if you drop, you got this little range, and it did come down here and wick off of it and bounce back up. But these are your bigger A plus ranges. These two. This little area right here, you can trade it, but it's gonna be you have to take smaller moves because it's gonna chop, right? It's gonna chop in that range versus you get a bearish arc and you see that you about to fall off. You got a bearish arc that lets you know the stock price was coming down first. You lost your 12 flipped to red. That lets you know that you just lost a short term trend, right? And then you coming down and you got a lot going on down this area, right? So you got your 200 is bullish, right? So that means when you come down to Tesla, the furthest you can take this play, you're not gonna want to try to say, okay, look, I'm gonna come straight down and I'm gonna come all the way down to this green order block immediately. Well, now you can clearly already see that you're gonna come down and you got an A plus trade, but you have to play it down to the 200 because you're playing puts against a bull trend, right? So if you're losing your 12, anytime you're above the 200 and you're counter trend trading, your target is going to always be the 200, right? So if you above your 200 and you're buying puts, if price gets anywhere near that 200, go ahead and get out the trade because you don't want to be even as nice as this played out right here. You got a arc and you pushing down. You don't really want to be. And I'm just on a 15-minute time frame, but I'm saying we look at multiple time frames. But the best thing to do is not to be trying to play against the trend often, unless you have like if your higher time frames are bearish and you got like room, you got an A plus trade, the 15 time frame is not going to trump like a bearish setup on like the 2 hour or the 3 hour or the 4 hour or the 1 hour. But if you're playing scalps, the best thing to do is just to play it here. Once you get to your 200, exit. Because in real life, when you got this bearish setup, even though you're in this A plus trade, if you would have got in under this support level or got in at the arc and pushed down here and stayed in it because you wasn't losing your 12 or you were using Black Wolf and you came up with a scalp or day trade plan and you had everything locked in the higher time frame perspective locked in, and he said, okay, jump in here and just ride it down to this level. When you're coming down to this 200, you see how price got hung up here and bounced off of it as support. But if you didn't exit at 483, this is a huge drawdown for push because it pushed up from 483 all the way back up to 490, 491. So you would end up getting stopped out if you were sliding your stop loss. So you want to play if you're counter trend trading uh, just from one time frame, you want to make sure you're using that 200 as an exit, right? And I'm not saying that just because that happens sometimes. Just look at this chart and we can just go back and look at every time it counter trended. Where did it bounce from? 200, came close to the 200, bounce, came down to the 200, bounce, came here to the 200. After a little short pullback, bounce, pull to the 200, bounce, pull to the 200, and shot up aggressively, pulled back down to the 200, pushed up. It's doing it over and over again because when the stock is in the uptrend, it's making what? Higher highs and higher lows. And it's using that 200. It's going to either use the 200 or the 12 cloud, which is why we have them on the chart as reload zones. So basically, you're in an uptrend. The stock comes here, it makes a little peak, a high, and then it pulls back. And you will see Black will say, hey, this is a reload opportunity. It's coming back down to the 12 to test it, to put in a, a, a higher low. And then you get another breaker structure and you push up again. You come back to the 12 and it keeps doing that same pattern. Then when it wants to make a bigger higher low, like from a higher swing, so you got a swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low. It's just coming back down to the 200 cloud to do that. And so You use so that's why we had a system like that. The WTMA is going to tell you, hey, they moving money out of the trade. It's about to pull back immediately. Then the 12 is going to say, yep, I confirm we're in the second leg of this pullback. I flip to red to let you know, okay, the short term trend is bearish now. So we probably finna pull back a little bit deeper. But then the 200 is sitting here say, okay, well, I'm the floor. I'm the dynamic floor. So when you look at horizontal support lines on the chart like these here, these lines, these are what we call static. So these support lines are fixed. They just stay where they are. Historically, this is where price has bounced from. So this is like the floor, right? The 200 acts as the moving averages act as dynamic support and resistance. So they're constantly moving around the chart, but they're still just like one purpose of them is they still act just like these support and resistance lines because they act as support and resistance, right? So if you pay attention and look at it, see, look at this. We end up getting under the WTMA and the signal line. Let's zoom in on this candle. You see how it pushed up and it rejected. This is now acting as resistance. At one point, when we was above price pulled back down to it. It acted as what? Support. And it was dynamic support. It's moving. It's nothing here in this range except for the WTMA and this signal line. This candle came back down, bounced off of it, and pushed up. The 12 cloud does the same thing. Price got under it. We got an open and closed candle, full body and wick under the 12 cloud. Price consolidated. It pushed up. And this was your reload zone for puts. It pushed into it, rejected right off of that 12 cloud, pushed down again, came back up, rejected right off of the 12 cloud, came down again, right? Look how this is a wide open trade, right? But look what's stopping it. Not this type of resistance that's horizontal and static, but the dynamic moving cloud pushed up and said, nope, you're not getting above me. Nope, nope, nope. And then when we got a candle to open up with the full body and the wick, not touching the 12 cloud, and it flipped to blue, then it was ready to move up further, right? And so let me refresh this right quick. So we have these things on the chart all serving a purpose, and what you want to look at is that what coach has done is try to simplify it down to colors. So the colors of the 12, when it flips red, we know that the trend, the short-term trend is bearish now, right? The short-term trend is in an uptrend. The short-term trend is in a downtrend. And so just like when I teach you all, it needs a strong candle to open and close above it so we can know that, okay, now the short-term trend is trying to support an up move. That's the only thing that can flip the color of your 12 cloud, okay? And so here with the WTMA, we're just using this lime green line to cross over its own signal line. And you can see the stop price is pushing down. And you consolidating and then you pushing down, but we never got the WTMA to cross back over its signal line until way down here. And then once it did and closed the candle while it was crossed over, that signal at the same time as getting above the 12 cloud, okay, Tesla is ready to go up now and try to hit this level of resistance. We have an A plus trade between uh, 482 and 490, right? Look where the price came. So these levels are pinpoint accurate because we're not allowing people to draw our levels. I'm not going on here at night and manually drawing everybody's levels out. I wrote code that goes back and look at 400 candles, not 200 candles, not 300, but 400 candles on every time frame, no matter what stock you go to, and plot these levels out so that you can get results like this. When the stock pushes up and hits that, that's a target. That's a take profit level. So you take profit here. It pushed up again. That's a take profit level, right? And so until you get a candle to open and close with the wick and the body under that level, this is a break and retest. You got a dominant candle to break under it. It retested it, and it also rejected at the 12 cloud, and it pushed down, right? So when we're looking at the confirmation system, the thing that makes the inverse arc powerful and the arc powerful is when you partner it with the either order block or structure, which is, saying our historical support and resistant lines. I'll say this: historical support and resistant lines. When you're getting these inverse arcs or arcs at structural support or resistance, it makes them more powerful because you're getting in at a support level and evidence that they're moving money in the background to support this as a good area to buy, right? And also, when you come down to an order block that's already being established, these are also good areas to buy when you get inverse arcs and stuff like that. So, say this was an older swing order block, 'cause I'm not sure if the WTMA beat it. Let's go look and see right quick. I'll go in replay mode for just a second. The WTMA is faster than order blocks in most times. So it'll show you that they've moved money and they bought a stock before the order block even shows up and tells everybody else, right? So other traders that trade with order blocks like us, they'll see these same order blocks, but they can only see this order block, saying once you get a change of character and once certain things happen and stuff like that. So here, let's see, like for example, so we got our lock candle. Nope, that's not locked yet. Let's see. Okay, so we got our lock candle on this candle that gapped up, right? And you see how we know that smart money was moving into the stock. They got in the inside of the WTMA. But we more importantly, we got the lock candle here. So we know on December 18th that they're in the trade. Smart money is buying inside the trade, right? So now this is what still on the 18th on that 15-minute candle, and we'll see how long it takes that order block to get into place, and which is why coach always live and die by this WTMA, because I know how advanced it is in compared to what others are using, right? So I guess we're gonna have to break through that red order block in order to even know that that was a swing order block. Because to get a swing order block, price has to appreciate. So it's finally here now. So we knew that this was because of our historical support level, and we are inverse arc down here at this strong support level. We knew way in advance, 2 days in advance, right? 2 or 3 days in advance, that they came in right here, exactly right here. It even beat this order block, right? So we're tracking their buying activity live, right? But we're just waiting on confirmation and confirmation that we have clear room above to the next target that makes sense to make money. So this whole range on Tesla between 782 and I said I'm seeing 482 and 490. This range on Tesla is an A plus trade range that you can take advantage of, right? And so we're using this WTMA for tell us, okay, this is our early liquidity engine. This is our early trend shift detection. This is our advantage. And it works in partnership with the 12 and with the 200 cloud to let us know, okay, the WTMA is telling you that money is moving and they're entering into Tesla. This is not fake. Okay, then the 12 is saying, okay, I'm also confirming that the trend has flipped short term to an uptrend because the cloud represents not just the 12 EMA, which is one version of the 12, it represents multiple versions of the 12 moving average so that we don't get caught up uh in price being above the 12 EMA, but not above the 12 simple moving average, which is a slower moving version of the 12. When we get a blue cloud, that means that every version of the 12 moving average has been dominated by this candle. So now the short term trend is actually shifted to a short term uptrend where we have the ability to hit these higher targets that we are looking at from these historical support and resistance lines. Okay. Now, when we come to a level three confirmation, which is we'll give an example of it here. We got one here. We got another one here. We have another. Well, that's not level three. We have another one here, right? And so when we're looking at these level three confirmation, we got another one here. And I'm gonna point out what a level three is. Now, the reason why Coach designed the level three confirmation is this is designed to help us not have to chase trades that are already taken off and gone and things like that. So when we come back to this trade, which I like to now start, I'm gonna start doing a lot more training going back into the replay mode perspective because I'll be liking to see what exactly the trade looked like then because it's easy to look at a trade after the trade is done to kind of see that was the perfect setup. But in replay mode, you can kind of see what exactly what the trade looked like and if I would have took this trade or not. So here we see that we have resistance here, right? We have a huge swing order block sitting right here at 426. Our level three confirmation is a simple confirmation. All you're looking for is you're looking for your 200. So this is a everything has to be trend aligned to get a level three confirmation. So it's not counter trended traded at all. To get a true level three, you have to have a few things in place in order to get a true level three confirmation. And after this confirmation, you should be at your first target within 6 to 10 candles. So no matter what time frame you're on, when you talk about expiration dates and well, how long should I hold a contract? What strike price should I get? Things like that. That's all based off of the closest target to you after you got into the trade is going to determine your strike price. The amount of time you're going to stay in it, at minimum, your contract date expiration has to take care of 6 to 10 candles when you add up the amount of time from that confirmation time frame. So what does that mean? We're on a 15-minute time frame. So you need your trade to last. You need contracts that expire weekly if you're just trying to get to your first target, right? So we see that we have Tesla with a level three confirmation. What makes a level three confirmation? The level three confirmation is looking at the 12 cloud, the 200 cloud, and we're looking at order blocks, right? So we need to have the long term trend needs to be bullish. That means your 200 cloud is going to be yellow. The short term trend needs to be bullish. That means your 12 cloud, this faster moving cloud, is going to be blue. So you're looking for, and you're also looking for it to be near some fresh order blocks. You want to be kind of near some order blocks or near really strong historical support and resistance levels. Okay, that what makes the trade a a better trade. Okay, so you want to be near some order blocks. You want your 200 to be yellow. You want your 12 to be yellow, right? And so we're going to pay attention to this one right here. So we got a level three confirmation at this replay candle. And so all we're looking for a level three is for this candle to not touch this trend line or this 12 cloud. Okay. We're not looking at the and I'll tell you how you can use this lime green WTMA to filter out bad level three confirmations. But all you're looking for is the 12 to be blue, the 200 to be yellow. You want to see that you have smart money participating in the trade as well. And this trend line right here, you want to be you want to candle to open and close with the wicks and the body of the candle not touching the 12 cloud or the trend line. When you see that, that means that you're playing it to your first. So your first target you're going to face is this this smaller level of resistance, right? And like I said, these levels are accurate. You see how this candle, you look at it and say, oh, this is a little skinny candle. I mean, this little skinny resistant line, I just blow through that. But you see this candle tried that same thing and got rejected, right? Got his butt kicked and it came all the way back down from that's about $10 drop. So if we're going to play this breakout, a short term scout breakout, we need to have this 425 strike, right? And we know that our second resistance range is going to be in this 427 range. So you can play the 425 or lower. You can go deeper, as deep as you want into the money. I'm not saying you got to pay only a 425. What I'm saying is when you buy the contract, if you're trying to scalp this trade from the 15-minute time frame, you want to have a um a strike price that is equal to or lower than that first resistant level. If you go out of the money to like 427 or whatever, once you get to this target, right, still sell it, but more so keep the 425 and lower. And so if you're gonna get, say you had three contracts, you want to start trimming as you hit your targets, right? And so if we play this out, it probably went up and hit through that target because we already saw it before I did the replay. But you see how, look at this, it got to this target, but look what it did. You got tweezer tops, but you pushed into it, and so why coach say you could take profit here after this candle right here, right? So say you entered in after this candle, you can take profit at this target, um, and win a trade. But more so, we can see that this is a swing order block. This order block is darker than this order block for a reason. The reason why you see sometimes a dark green and a dark red order block, they are not the same strength. The dark red order blocks are far stronger than these light red order blocks. And when you see a very dark green order block, it's way stronger support than a lighter green order block because these are swing order blocks. So these are the ones that when the stock was pushing up and it was in the uptrend, enough volume came in to push the price down more aggressively, and it's at a swing high, right, or a swing low for a dark green order block. So this is why I say you can push up, but once you hit what you know is resistance, then there's no point of forcing the trade through these swing order blocks if you're trying to just do a short day trade on Tesla and you didn't get in down here or you didn't get in down here and you're just trying to play a momentum breakout to a target, then this is what that looks like. You're just playing it to your first target or within this zone and you want to take profit. Now, if it breaks above this level and closes a candle above the order block, if it closes a candle above the order block and gets rid of it, now that puts you in a better situation where you have at least a trade from 425.50 up to 430 if it closes a candle above this level. And then that opens that range up. So now you have, if you come up here and close above it, do an inverse arc, you're in a bigger trade range to where you can do more, right? But while this obstacle is here, this becomes your target. Okay. So you want to take your targets serious, right? And you want to take them serious. And then once you get other opportunities to play that range and do more, then you can play that range. But as you're approaching like obstacles in your way, so just looking at that, you see how we got the level 3 down here. We reject it. We pull back, right? Then we got above it with a closed candle. That's not the end of the world just because this candle shot up and hit this level. Look what it did. It came right back down to this level, retested the cloud, and it pushed right back up in the same range multiple times. You see that? It pushed back in the same range because it's already showing us that once Tesla gets above these two thick levels, this is the trade range, right? This is the trade range that it's going to play in. And so getting out at your target and then waiting for a retest and getting back in, waiting for a fresh arc and playing up to that, inverse arc down here, another inverse arc here to place to that target. These are just the safest ways to get in under the confirmation system. All you all know that's advanced. Some people that's just not getting in the system, we play in the system, but you'll see other trading styles like, you know, just getting the open and close or breaking retest. Like this right here was a open and close candle. We came back down, retested the previous resistance. So this was resistance, resistance, resistance. We finally broke it. And then this next candle opened and closed above it. And then we came back down and tested it as support. That's just a break, retest. And then we played that same trade again. So you got many different styles of trading you can do. But the main thing that the wolf chart is showing you and giving you the green light on is that if you're going to play the calls and wait for a break retest to play calls, favor the call side because you're above your 200. Institutions just bought in. Your WTMA sloped up right here. You got your 12 is bullish still. Yeah, you can play these puts, but the higher probability trade is to the upside because the trend overall is bullish, right? And so we're looking at The level three confirmation again here. We got a decent level three. Um, we got a pullback level three here, and so we'll look at this level three for example. This one is kind of choppy. You're breaking out, but you're breaking out into a more choppy range, right? Where you have closer targets, and I think on this one, so you got an inverse arc, right? You got an inverse arc right here. You're pushing up. I think you got your previous day high there, and like I said, we're looking to hit your target within 6 to 10 candles. So you know your strike is gonna have to be the 421, 422, right? Let's see if we get there and within the amount of candles that makes sense. So this is the level three candle here. And let me see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We took 14 candles to get there. We held on to the 12, but it just bounced off of this trend line in this tight range. So your drawdown here would have been around 416. I don't know what people would have got stopped out or not, but it pushed up and hit the previous day high, pulled down, and then it hit the target after like 14 candles or so. But again, you're in a smaller range, so you got like this little bit of space here. Your first entry opportunity would have been where at the inverse arc down here. So your phase one entry would have been at this candle. And if you missed that, you know what I'm saying, you reclaimed your 12 cloud here. And so that's another entry of people that use the 12 cloud for entry of that. Or some people will wait for an inverse arc and then say, okay, I'm gonna wait for an inverse arc. And so I know that they coming in with money, but to lower my risk, instead of me jumping in on this lock candle, I get in on the once we reclaim the short term trend as well. So they might get in on this candle. But then if you missed all that, then you can get in on a trend a momentum breakout as well. You see the same type of combination here. You got a inverse arc, but this one also reclaimed the 12 at the same time. You're under your 200, so what can you do if you're under your 200? You know the trend is pointing to up. You're at the 200. You don't have to jump in at resistance. You can wait, get inside of the A plus trade range, buy your calls up in this range right here because you know that we just got above resistance. Now we are fully above the 200 cloud, and you can push up and get your target. So the other thing that we did, I'm just explaining the confirmation systems to you guys. But the other advantage that you guys have is because you have the wolf chart. When you're doing trading, it's other things you have to look at, which is like the higher time frame situation, like what's happening on the daily, what's happening on the uh the 4 hour chart, and what's happening on these other time frames. And so what you want to do is when you're doing your homework, what's your daily routine or what's your after hours routine to know what you're going to trade, what you're looking for before the market opens, is that if you know that you want to try to trade Tesla, like look at Tesla on the 15 minutes in the order block, is swept liquidity on this order block before. It looks like it wants to come down to this order block, which is a what swing order block because it's dark green. So if it pushes through here, you're sitting at historical support and you got a swing order block. But you also want to look on like these daily time frame. What's happening on a daily time frame with Tesla? It's pulling back to the 12 cloud. Essentially, what is it really doing? This is a previous all-time high from November the 3rd. It broke above it with a dominant candle right here. All these other candles were straddling the previous high, right? And but these even though this was a big green candle, it never opened and closed with the body and the wick above the high of that candle. This one didn't. This one's still touching that line, but this red candle was actually the candle that conquered the previous high, right? And it pushed up, took Tesla to almost 500. Tesla always, one thing to know about Tesla, when it's trying to break out to like a 500, it always gonna stop at something goofy like 499.99, like or 498. But you know, everybody wait on 500. Everybody starts selling right before 500. They always do that when it's trying to break out to like one of those whole numbers. But you see how we got this counted and we're pulling back. But this is really essentially going to be Tesla's break in retest of the previous, all-time high, right? So it's down here at the 12 cloud right now on a daily time frame. And then, you can look at your weekly to see what's really happening on the weekly. It's sitting in a weekly inverse arc, right? We got a lock candle from on the 15th, the week of the 15th. And then we have this current candle here. We had this current candle uh, that we closed, kind of bearish. It would have been better for Tesla to close, at this higher one. But this one from the previous, we actually had a break of structure, pulling back down, right? We got this inverse arc or whatever. All right, so they're letting Tesla pull it back, but eventually, so they're going to try to get their earnings positions and stuff on Tesla. Earnings is in January, toward the end of beginning of February, end of January or so. And so we had this inverse arc. We can see in the past on weekly bearish arcs, Tesla has dropped for a little while. On weekly inverse arcs, it has popped up, done decent off of these arcs. And so it's working out of a inverse arc right now. And so you want to look at this weekly time frame, your daily time frame, and these hourly ones. But the other advantage that we had to simplify this process is that you just had to get really good at taking screenshots, right? And so with Black Wolf, the AI, Shon-TheWolf AI, you can take a screenshot of the Tesla's weekly chart, Tesla's daily chart, Tesla's 4 hour chart, and Tesla's 2 hour chart or 1 hour chart, and you put those screenshots inside of Black Wolf or Shon-TheWolf AI and say, hey, give me a top-down analysis and a trade plan for Tesla, or just do a top-down analysis, right? And so when you do your top-down analysis, Black Wolf is going to remember all this higher time frame stuff for you, right? So that you won't have to be overthinking everything. So now, say you got your weekly, your daily, your 4 hour, and your 1 hour charts given to Black Wolf. That means that now, if you want a day trade, you say, okay, I want to day trade Tesla, and say it's live during the market hours. And you're like, man, Tesla looks like it's about to drop down. It's finna hit 466. So now that now that Blackwood has the top down analysis locked in, it's gonna look at this 15-minute time frame. It's gonna look at your 5 minute chart. So if you post, okay, I'm gonna give you the 30 minute, the 15 minute, the 5 minute chart, and I want you to come up with a day trade strategy on Tesla. It's not just gonna think about the 15, the 30, the 15, and 5 minutes. It's gonna say, okay, on a macro level, on a larger level, this is what Tesla's doing. Okay, it's got an inverse arc. It got liquidity right here. It got a liquidity shelf right here, a volume shelf right here. It's gonna remember everything from the 1 week, the um, the 1 week, the 1 day, the 4 hour, and the 1 hour. It's gonna remember that top down analysis, and it's gonna consider that while it's giving you the day trade. It's gonna say, okay, so from the higher time frame, Tesla look like it can pull back here, but it has a lot of volume and liquidity at these levels. It got a liquidity sweep level right here. It's gonna see all that, and then it's gonna tell you, okay, for a day trade, if you want to buy puts, it's gonna tell you something like, okay, when it comes up, and it's gonna feel weird while it's happening because you're looking at the 5 minute chart, but Black Wolf already saw the higher time frame. So Tesla might do something crazy like shoot up, and Black Wolf might say, hey, jump in the puts at 487. You're like, man, but everybody jumping in the call, and then you're gonna see that thing turn right back around and come on back down because it already calculated, what resistance and liquidity levels are the heaviest structural liquidity and stuff like that on the higher time frame. So when you're building your day trades, even though you done forgot everything you just saw on the weekly and the daily, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So it looks at those levels and it says, okay, this is, if you want to scout, you need to wait for it to pull down. If you want to buy calls, you need to wait for it to pull down here and reclaim this order block and then push and play it up. This is your first take profit at 478, and then it's your net. It's gonna give you better entries, and then your stop loss levels. And so when you're losing trades, you need to be losing the trade because your stop loss got hit. The one that Black Wolf gave you, or the one you use based off of the ATR, you need to be getting stopped out, and because you don't need to be you don't need to be like, man, I'm down 60% on this trade. In trading, you got to expect that you're going to lose some trades, but and you got to also expect that you're going to win some trades. The problem is that you want to manage your risk. You want to lose a little bit, but you want to win bigger than what you're losing at all times. Your whole game plan to becoming profitable is like, okay, I'm gonna take some losses, but when I win, I want to win. I want my wins to be bigger than my loss at all times, and that's how you want to deploy your capital in high percentage uh trade ranges, and you want to take trades that are high probability to have trend aligned trades and things like that. And the wolf chart and the way I train Black Wolf, he's going to let you know the trend, and you can be able to see the trend as well. But while you're in the learning phases, don't misunderstand the process. If you start taking screenshots of your higher time frames, and make sure in Chat GPT that you're actually on Black Wolf, you know what I'm saying? Not on default Chat GPT. Like if you go into Chat GPT, let me just go to click on Black Wolf. You want to be where you clicked on the side over there on this Shon-TheWolf AI. You want to make sure you're clicked on that when you're talking, right? You don't want to be talking to the default Chat GPT, because one thing about Chat GPT, it ain't gonna tell you it don't know what you're talking about. If you say, hey, the WTMA, blah blah blah, it's gonna, oh yeah, yeah, that's right, and it's gonna start trying to talk and give you answers. But you want to make sure that you're on Shon-TheWolf AI before you do your screenshots. And then what you have it in your finger in your hands is that because you have an own or using a wolf chart, you have the ability to make professional grade trade plans on demand by taking those screenshots and putting them into Black Wolf, just uploading them and say, hey, I'm looking at, I want to buy shares in this stock. Give me look at the technicals and give me a breakdown on where I need to be buying it. Or I want to buy options on this stock. Here's the 1 week, the 1 month, the 1 day, all them charts, screenshot them so that he can see everything, and then say, give me a trade plan for Tesla. Give me a trade plan for Eli Lilly. Give me a trade plan for Nvidia. And then you have to wait until it gets in that range. And if you get nervous when they say it comes down exactly where the trade plan said to enter into the trade, if it gets in that range, don't panic. Just go take screenshots on a lower time frame while it's in that price range. Say, hey, on the Tesla trade plan, now Tesla's in this certain area. Is it still good to buy it right here? Do you see anything that would change your mind? And if you say no, it's a go. You want to get in right here, then you want to start paying attention, setting your stop loss. Now, what does this do? Eventually, the more you use Black Wolf, and I design it in this way for a reason, because I'm all about people being independent and not dependent. I'm not trying to make you dependent on AI, but it's just like if you were a person and you were traveling the world, or you were traveling doing renovation of a house with the top renovators on earth, right? The smartest renovators, they got all the techniques. They know exactly what a good house to buy is and blah, blah, blah. If you don't know nothing and you follow them and you look at, okay, this is what it said, get in right here, or this is person said buy this type of house, or you want to renovate with this type of material, this right here is going to save you money. This is when you want to buy this type of house. Hang with them every day. Bother them every day. Ask them the questions you don't know every day. After a year, you're going to be one of them. You're going to understand exactly why they move in the way they move, why they think like they think, and you're going to start thinking and seeing exactly what that person or that group of people is seeing. That's ultimately what Black Wolf is. While you're getting your CWCA and learning how to trade, learning about smart money concepts, learning about order blocks, learning about fair value gaps, learning about candlestick patterns, and then you getting these high level trade plans and saying, hey, wait till the price gets right here and wait till the price gets right here. And then you can even get a trade plan and say, I don't understand what you're talking about in this trade plan. Break it down more simple. What's reclaim mean? What does this mean? And it can say, okay, well, I'm just going to give you your trade plans so that you can understand them. So, and then you're going to eventually look up, like after 60 days, like most people in my Discord has, and say, bro, how have I learned more in 30 days, more in 60 days than I've learned in 4 years of trading or in 2 years of trading just being in this ecosystem for 2 months, right? Or just being in this ecosystem for a month. Why do I know all this information? And you're not going to realize how much smarter you have become as investors and traders until you leave out of the Wolf Empire and go back to the other discourse you used to be in and just look around and talk to them. They're going to think you're some kind of wizard, some kind of, you know, prophet and things like that. But it's a different learning curve starting out. But I promise you're going to, as long as you just use the system and depend on, getting these trades, then you're gonna it's gonna start clicking. Okay. So don't fight yourself as you everything's not clicking all at once. I built it in a way to where like a 60 day, a month, 2 months, 3 months, you're gonna look back and say, oh my God, I know so much now. And the system is designed to help you guys to learn things and cut down on your workload. So what other thing that I do for new wolves and people that's in the Discord is that when you're trading, the hardest thing to do is trading is find something to trade, first of all. So we've already solved what I don't know how to chart. I don't understand technicals. So all right, you got a process to where a chart is charting for you. You don't have to worry about the lines being inaccurate and you don't have to worry about all that stuff. All that stuff is already every time you click on something, a chart pop up, right? So that part solved. So all you gotta do is learn how to read what's on the screen, right? I don't have a trade plan. I don't have risk management. I don't really understand that part's complex. That's the simplest screenshots now. Take your screenshots, you have a professional trade plan, right? The other side of that is but how do I find what to trade? These alerts that's built inside of the discourse is taking that pressure off of you. So we already see what inverse arc is. So this right here is when this lime green line right here crosses this red line, and you get a candle to open and close fully above this line and close while this line is crossed over. That sets you up for a trend shift to an uptrend. When it does the opposite and it closes under it, that sets you up and lets you know the stock on the pullback. Same thing here. We got this lime green line that crossed through this red line, and that let us know that the stock is ready to come down. We're in an A plus trade range because we can see these black lines have big gaps in them, right? Our 12 has turned red. We know the short term trend is bearish. Our 200 is happy and sunny and ready to bounce this thing back up. So as we approach that, we're getting out of it because the 200 automatically becomes a target. But what if you can just find out whenever this happens? Well, we did. That what if has been solved within the Discord right here where it's a swing trade WTMA alerts. All these alerts right here from the weekly time frame, right? Weekly, daily, weekly. You got 3 day, you got all type of days and all these different things in here, 3 day arcs and stuff like that to allow you to know exactly when that happens for over 300 stocks. Whenever this happens on a daily time frame, you will know about it just by coming here and clicking. We also know that when the stock is about to go up, so like let's look at IWM here and go into replay and see if they have an order block. You see how it has this red order block? Another thing that we want to wait for is we know this is a target until it's not, until the bulls come in and they spend their money and they close a candle above that red zone. That's when we know that the stock is ready to do more, is ready to go up higher. When it gets above those red zones, then we know when the stock is ready to go up higher, right? So what if we can know every time that happens on a stock? Well, you can. All you gotta do is click on supply zone conquered. Anytime that happens on a stock is doing that throughout the trading day on a 1 hour time frame. Uh, at the end of the day, when it's doing it on a daily, from a daily perspective, FCX, Visa, NOC, NFA, we can see when anytime a order block is being conquered, whether it's bullish, is already tagged. The bulls has closed price above the red bearish order block. This is a bullish alert, charted out. Prepare for the next leg up. So anytime that happens on a higher time frame, 1 hour time frame, you can take screenshots or you can go in there and look at it yourself if you at that level and you can prepare for the next leg up because we are already filtering for every time that happens and stock is ready to appreciate and go up. Every time that happens, On a when the stock is bearish and it's dropping, we can see the same thing, and they already separated. And here, the swing arcs are also separated, bullish and bearish. You can see them already kind of separated out. So you can see all that. So we can see when these confirmed trades are happening. And then I also give you all these lists, you know what I'm saying? Inside of my trade plans, if you're not going in here, if you're new, like this was last week. When I first got into some of these trades on the 24th, I posted, when I got in here, I think I was up like 2% on Costco. Adobe was down. Got Oracle in here, Nvidia. That was on the 24th. And you see, cost went up a little bit. Nvidia went up. I don't know what it was when I first posted. That was at 400 some bucks. But these stocks are doing decent. Now this one was up 18%. Cost Nvidia went up a little bit. Adobe's trying to recover a little bit. Oracle went down a little bit, but I'm still being transparent about what I'm holding right then. I also try to give you all these lists, you know what I'm saying? So I give you all a list of trades that are, I think I posted it in the main chat. Um, so my trades when I'm getting to something, sometimes you might see me in a trade, you be like, oh man, that trade already up 15%. Some of them trades still go up like another 100% and stuff like that. So like these lists right here, this is when coach give you these type of lists, I'm just trying to make it easier for you. We already know what Tesla done did since the 15th, right? So we got Tesla on the list and a few stocks on this list from the 15th. Airbnb, I think Airbnb was doing decent since that date. I didn't trade Airbnb, but sometimes I make a list of stocks that let me see, the 15th. What is that? November? What was that? What was that date? 12, 15. What's today's date? 20. Am I in replay mode or something? Yeah, it gotta be. All right. So so these lists are trend align lists. So these are lists that when I go vet a stock and I go vet them, so we go look at the 15th. These stock Airbnb entered into an A plus trade rate and I already hit that target. But it was I told we was talking about this. I put the list out there like on the 15th and it's been doing decent. I think Walmart came down. I don't know what they did on the 15th, but Walmart is a leap candidate. Let me see the 15th. So on the 15th they topped out actually and pulled back. So this one right here, inverse arc and pull back um, down to support. So it looks like looking at them because they didn't do a break retest initially, they're probably gonna come back down and retest this previous all-time high, which is gonna be where most people will try to, make their bets on Walmart because it broke structure. So it's coming back down to put in what, a higher low. So it's gonna try to put in a higher low and it's gonna try to shoot back up. It's gonna get caught up at 117 again, but it's gonna try to come down and do its thing. You got earnings in February. So we put these lists out there. You got Visa on there. I think Visa was low when I first put this list out. Let's see. But what's the safety net with these, even with these type lists I'm giving you all? So this was on the 15th for Visa. Was at uh 347. Visa up $10 from then, right? With these lists though, I'm not telling you, coach put a list out, go all in on the stock. Everybody just throw buy calls and just jump in the trade. You have a way to generate trade plans off of both of these lists, and you can build a trade plan out of quickly, and have a whole game plan. Even if you don't know how to build a trade plan, I'm telling you how you can build a trade plan and dominate these trades if you just stay within the ecosystem. You're getting confirmed trades, right? Um, you're getting these supply zone and order block with these order blocks as the stock is breaking out and getting above and dominating new territories. You're getting alerted on that as well. I'm going to bring back private trade notes, and we're still working through this Wolf Secrets, but just to give you all a sneak peek into what the alert system is going to eventually become. You all already were beta testing this one, so this right here starts tapping into the 12 cloud and and the daily, saying, daily crossovers with the clouds, weekly time frame crossovers. Even when it's time to buy stocks and stuff like that, I got a way that we can do that. These 4 hour chart buy signals, daily chart buy signals. It has a lot of stuff in here, ATR tracker stuff inside of here. So we're gonna get this organized, like this daily buy signal. When institutions are and when the stocks are in the areas where institutions can buy shares, we got that covered in here. And so it's got a lot of stuff in here, but also what I'm working on is we'll be able to track, sell side, buy side liquidity sweep signals, um, trend lines, just a 30 day trend line, 14-day trend line, 60-day trend line breaks that show us like really high momentum stocks. It's hard to break like 30-day trend lines, but we see, Roku, we already know what Roku is doing, but this thing been alerting for a while. Uh Breaker structures, stuff like that. I'm gonna isolate them to where it's just tracking stuff that's gonna make us money though. So I'm trying to filter it out. I'm not looking for a lot of noise, but more so like intraday, like this make you money when uh bull has broke, saying like had a bearish 2 hour time frame breaker structure, right? Things like that. Saying? So we want to know about, stuff breaking structure and things like that during the day because you can make a lot of money off of these type of signals and stuff like that. So I'm working on getting this stuff uh organized in the same way that I had a lot of alerts on here at first, and then I took, saying, a lot of them away to see which ones were kind of making the most money and made the most sense. And then we had to just have like high quality alerts that we can actually, okay, we got this type of signal. Let's let's build a trade plan off of that. And so it's a lot of things we're doing in here to help you find things to trade that are catered toward the confirmation system and and um and helping you to not make mistakes on what you're buying calls on, buying puts on. And for my long-term investors, you can always leverage your wolf chart to buy shares at these weekly order blocks. When you're getting these weekly inverse arcs and things like that, or when you're breaking um, supply zone or order blocks and you're getting above order blocks or beneath them, things like that. You know what I'm saying? We can you can always buy your shares. So don't ever stop using some of your profits to buy shares. So you always want to be doing that. And then for my day traders that day trade, these lists that I put in here and these signals. So these are our fair value gap signals. And we have fair value gaps inside of the wolf chart. And we'll slowly keep teaching on that if you're new. But the only thing you need to know about this day trade focus list is that these trades are pre vetted for the trend, right, that they're in. And so what makes this channel powerful and unique is that when I look at the overall structure of a stock and I say, okay, the structure of this stock is bullish, it's had multiple bullish alerts or whatever, or is the structure is making a higher low, is making higher highs and higher lows. It's above the 12 cloud, it's above the 200 cloud. The WTMA on the higher time frame is sloped up. What I do is I cater only bullish alerts on that stock. Like MU doesn't have any bearish. I'm not tracking MU at all for bearish activity, right? I'm only tracking it for bullish activity. While it's in the uptrend. The reason why I do that is because now we can know when, okay, let it, even if it's pulling back, I don't care if it's pulling back in this channel. We're just gonna play the next wave up because this is gonna be a stronger push to the upside. So I'm only filtering off of the dominant trend. So only dominant trend fair value gaps, only the green fair value gaps get signaled to make sure that we're only filtering for the dominant trend. So everything in here is built like that. Like how Visa went on a tear. Visa's been on the bullish alert system. QQQ was on a bullish alert system the whole time it was running up. Um, so that you can take advantage of buying calls on stuff that's bullish on the higher time frames, right? And so we got this channel to cater to alerts that are trend based alerts, right? It's not just an alert system to where, okay, MU, we're going to get every type of alert on MU. MU has fit the qualifications to be categorized as a bullish stock. So every time MU is doing bullish things, we're gonna alert the bullish activity. Like it gave an alert at 286, right? And then you see it again, giving an alert at 288, right? And so you can see it kind of all these stocks like silver pushing up. It's getting multiple bullish signals back to back. Silver right here at 64.62, still pushing up, right? Silver right here at 64.24. It's just on it, it's tracking all the bullish activity because I don't care about the bear side. I just want to look at the overall trend is bullish. We're gonna track it for bullish activity. So even if you look at MU here, it's at 945. It's at 275.90. We got a bullish fair value gap alert. And then, like I said, we come all the way back and look at the other alerts. It just kept going up on the 23rd. It constantly kept having more and more alerts triggering for MU, right? They gave us extra opportunities like at 275, 276.99, right? It's just still kind of walking up that ladder. And then we go into the next day, so it's already at 286 and pushing, right? So that's what we that's the goal, what I'm saying? Like we want to track stuff that's bullish in here. So these are trend filtered alerts to help day traders to not, trade against the trend, right? All right. So I'm gonna open up for some questions. I know this call is kind of going a little long, but I wanted the new people to kind of get an understanding of the wolf chart, how even if you don't understand everything, you can utilize the screenshots to build out trade plans, what alerts that you need to kind of focus on, and that's catered toward the chart, and also getting your CWCA. I just want to give a special shout out to the entire Discord for the amount of CWC. So these are certified wolf chart analysts. So when you're doing your Black Wolf training, once you get past phase two, you can ask Black Wolf or Shon-TheWolf AI to give you a test to test you for certified wolf chart analyst. And it will give you a test. And if you pass that test, you become certified. And that unlocks, different opportunities in the Discord. Like you get to use the WTMA cloud, which is what we use to see when a stock is going to make a parabolic move ahead of time. So you can see here, if I take off Wolf Levels Pro, I'm rewarding people with extra stuff on the chart because I know I'm confident that they understand the basics, right? Just the basics, so you're just doing first two phases. So once you understand the basics, I'm comfortable giving you this WTMA cloud. And look at you see how it's acting as resistance here, resistance. Got above it, the stock went parabolic to hit this level. This is right here we dropping, right here we broke above it, retested it, shot up, broke under it. It tracks big moves, big trend shifts because it is the big brother to the WTMA. So it's tracking how the WTMA tracks early trend detection. This tracks institutional trend shifts. And so when you get your CWCA, it unlocks your access to getting that WTMA class, just like Eric, what is it? Well, I think she's, yeah. Eric Ha has, I say, congrats. And then you have WTMA access. These people are unlocking that for just doing what they supposed to do with their time. Once you go through that training, it's going to knock out a lot of questions you have, like what this mean, what is this order, what is this green zone on the chart, what does this mean, what does that mean? All that'll be answered by the time you're CWCA certified using Black Wolf, right? And so you want to make sure you get that certification. And then also, and the reason I want to highlight this is because we have let me see, everybody that has the WTMA is CWCA certain. I mean, it's a certified wolf chart analyst, right? I'm trying to see if I can find a cloud it. And so I was excited about the number of people that have the cloud. I can see it from if I can find it right here. So when I click on the WTMA cloud, we have we got 171 wolves that are CWCA certified, right? Which is really dope. So that means that we have people that's really taking the chart serious, taking the education part of it serious, even though we got so many advantages that you wouldn't have to learn all this stuff because you can just take screenshots and print out trade plans and you can look at my trade plans and there's so many other technical analysts in here in these little side groups that's training people specifically on SPY and specifically on QQQ. We got all these different things, but people are still willing to go and learn on their own, which is what I'm promoting, that independency and get certified. And some are even going to the highest cert level, which is the CWCM certified WolfChart mentor level, and getting these certs once they complete all 5 phases and submit trade journals and things like that. And so it's not easy to become CM certified, but it's worth it because you have to go through so many trades working with Shon-TheWolf AI and submitting your trade plan and saying, okay, this is what my game plan is. I followed it. Okay, I won this trade. This is what my game plan was. My stop loss got hit. So then what it does is two things. It makes you smarter, and it makes your version of Shun with AI smarter. It looks at, okay, so hold on, we lost this trade. So what went wrong? And it send them the screenshots, and it's like, oh, I see. Let me tweak this and tweak that, and then eventually your win's gonna get more and more and more and more consistent. And if you're consistently trading something, as you're becoming an expert on QQQ or as you're becoming an expert on Tesla, it's becoming an expert on Tesla and how it moves and what happened in the past because it's getting smarter as you're introducing your wins and losses to it. And before you know it, it's like y'all just live trading together. And you're using the smartest mechanism on earth, which is AI, but y'all are just feeding off each other and live trading on and just dominating the market together. So it creates that type of relationship with the Shon-TheWolf AI and the tools and the Wolf chart. It start all syncing up together, and you just like, all right, it's just you just doing it like you would eat food or eat a sandwich. It just become that natural. And so we don't have that many CWCMs, but that is open. So anybody got any questions, you can go ahead and ask.
Hey, yo, Sean, real quick. Hey, how do you discern from a false breakout with the the WTMA? That's the first question I got for you.
Oh, talking about for a level 3.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the cool thing about the WTMA is it can see liquidity, even though a trend line is showing you where a breakout can happen. Uh, if you see a trend conflict, okay, so we're gonna turn on. Okay, they're my trend lines. All right, so sometimes you will hear me say a confirmation stack. We'll talk about confirmation stacks and stuff like that. A confirmation stack is basically when you see the you will see the let me turn these trend lines up for a second. All right, so we can see them better. All right, so here we have a trend line, and you see how we have this candle that is our level 3, right? But we see that the WTMA is not above that candle, right? It's not above the candle as you're getting the confirmation. When you see a bad trend line break, that's gonna get it's not going to do anything worth anything. So let me turn this cloud off right quick. Give me 1 second. All right. All right, so look at this. So we got a level 3 right here at the cloud. Well, it's not really a level 3, but we got this trend line break. And you see how the WTMA is in alignment with this trend line break, let us know that we got a higher chance of hitting this target, right? I'm gonna try to find one where it's going against the WTMA if I can find one on the chart. A confirmation stack looks like this. You have an inverse arc. Say this is our level 3 trade, and we're in this A plus trade range. This is probably one of the most bullish looking setups that when you see this on the chart, these are very bullish. When you see the WTMA deep inside of a order block, and you see the trend line like literally almost sitting in the lap of the WTMA, and you see everything kind of, you see both confirmation. You see the early entry and the level 3 like stacked right on top of each other. These are very bullish breakouts. Okay, this confirmation stack, and I call it a confirmation stack because the WTMA by itself can give you that early entry confirmation, and a lot of times you will see it happen, but it'd be like a gap between them. But when you see that WTMA that deep down in the order block and you're getting a level 3, these are very, very bullish level 3 confirmation or confirmation stacks, because you got the inverse and the level 3 kind of stack right on top of each other for like a very strong push. I'm gonna try to find a counter version of it though. And this is like kind of close, but not really. But when you see a level 3, right? So this is a decent level 3, but you see how the arc is way down. The arc is the inverse arc. The early entry is way down here. So you had all this momentum that pushed up, and then you get to level 3 kind of at the tail end of the move. And so this is not, if I pull this back in replay mode, you're probably gonna see resistance really close to this level. What I'm looking for is a trade where you got an inverse arc and the WTMA was already moving fast. Maybe I need to go to the lower time frame. The WTMA was already moving and had already turned bearish as you were getting a trend line break. I'm looking for a trade set up like that. Because it'll start, or if you see the WTMA creeping up too fast after the trend line break. But while I'm looking for that, if anybody else got a question, you can ask as well.
Just one more question for you. Hey, for the Black Wolf, should we be using like 5.2? Should we be using Shon-TheWolf AI 4.0? What's the best setup for that?
You can use 5.2. You can use 5.2 with it. It hadn't interrupted mine. And inside of the this is a close example. Inside of the Discord, if you go to Mastering Black Wolf. Now, for anybody new, when you get in, some of these channels may not be the default channels that you see. You can go to channels and roles, and then you want to select under browse channels. You can select the channels you want to see in there, right? But down here where it says Mastering Black Wolf, we have like recalibration. So if you go to 5, what I'm saying is if you go to 5.2 and say your Black Wolf seems a little off, you can put a recalibration command inside of a Black Wolf. And if you go in here and just ask, if you don't have that command, just ask for the recalibration command. Or if somebody's on the call that has it, go ahead and post it in here and I'll pin it to the bottom of the page. But you can post that recalibration and it'll act, saying just like it was acting in 4, is accuracy. And it'll, make sure your trade plans and everything are on point. But 5.2 is a smarter chat GPT, so it's worth using that one dominantly.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What now I know you use probably the pro membership on TradeView. Because that's the volume profile that you see like on the side, because mine is like only on the bottom. Or is it something like that I could put on there? Because I'm only using the free version, which I can definitely pay, for the other versions. But how do I get that on the side?
So with the free version, you can only have 2 indicators,
Okay.
which that covers the full WolfChart, right? Now, if you pay for the plus subscription, it gives you 5 indicators. But with plus, you can have and you can have the VRVP with the free version, but you have to delete part of your WolfChart, which I wouldn't recommend that. But if anybody can get anybody with plus or higher can get the VRVP, you just type in VRVP.
VRVP, okay.
VRVP, and then you're going to click on this one that says visible range volume profile.
Okay.
And then you click that. It's going to give you these thicker blocks. Let me hide mine. So it's going to look like this, right? You see how this volume profile is right here on the side. All you have to do is just double click on one of these pink bars or blue, whatever. Just double click it. It'll take you into the settings to make it more fine, like mine, like more pinpoint accurate as far as what volume is actually pointing out.
Mm-hmm.
You turn your row size to 200, and then your value area volume, you change that to 100, and then it'll make it look like this type of volume.
Okay. And that you essential, right?
Hmm?
Do you think it's like essential to have that on the side?
Yeah, whatever the first pay one is. I didn't mean to say plus. Like essentials, like whichever one gives you more than two indicators. Essentials, it works fine on essentials or plus or the other one, but essentials is all you really need.
Okay. But like for it to be on the side like that, do you think it like helps the trade? Like help us
Yes,
better?
yeah. So it helps in this sense. You know, what I'm saying your your historical support and resistance levels kind of give you the same information, but
Mm-hmm.
the volume profile, since it's telling you about actual volume, like historical volume, it just gives you like a really good picture, you know what I'm saying, of where the volume is on a chart, right? So like right here, for
Said it was
example,
like pointing to the 200, and that kind of confirms like an A plus trade. And you actually seeing the volume like on the side.
yeah.
I was like,
So
okay,
like this example right here, you see how this volume was here, but smart money came back in, but this is still showing like a historical picture where volume is on Visa.
right.
You see, it's already showing us an A plus trade, and we covered that range already. But when it pulled back, it came right down to where actual volume is, and we can see that ahead of time, Visa was stuck in this box, right?
Mm-hmm.
But once it broke above this level, we knew that it can move up with speed because look how empty. There's no volume here to stop it from just moving up with speed. So
Mm-hmm.
when you see these open gaps in the chart, it's almost equivalent to sometimes how you see like a stock will leave a gap between a candle. It's just showing you that it's literally no real obstacle here to stop it from moving or dropping very fast. Because if we go back and look at the drop on it, it probably dropped just as fast every time it gets in its range. You see how it just keep moving up really aggressive, like these $5, $6, it just keep moving up in that range because of the lack of vol. It's illiquid. So
Yeah,
nothing, so it just can move quicker and you can visually see it. And so
yeah,
it just gives you more confidence, you know what I'm saying? Because you can see the trade easier.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, because I be on the bottom list.
Yeah, yeah. That bottom, I mean, see, the bottom one has value as far as telling you, not just one bar, but like this is a good bar, you know what I'm saying? Because you can see
Right.
that volume came in on this candle.
Mm-hmm.
And you see after that, you got this nice move right here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's valuable only when you can kind of see the trend and everything aligns with the volume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Oh dang, I had found an example and then lost it. God dog it.
Hey, Sean, I got a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, are you able to go over to the Black Wolf and kind of show the new wolves how to create a project? That way, you can kind of keep everything cleaner and like everything kind of sync together.
Yeah. So I'm gonna teach on that. I'm gonna teach on the project thing. That what I found. You can double check it for me. But what I found out on the projects is that I was asking Black Wolf, is the project and Shon-TheWolf AI separate, or can he see the projects in the same way? And I think they're even though you can train them off of what your conversation is learning from these conversations, but it isn't the same as they haven't seamlessly synced them together yet, is what I found out. Because
Okay.
I had created the projects for them, and I was looking at the prompts in it, like how much it knows about. I was testing it in the project. I'm like, bro, how you supposed to know this about, you know what I'm saying, the liquidity maps and blah, blah, blah. And it was like kind of like trying to make stuff up. And I'm like, just, you know, I put it in integrity mode and actually not to lie. And so it's smart, like Shon-TheWolf AI, because it's feeding off those conversations, but it is still in a project, it's still lacking the complete brain of the Shon-TheWolf AI is what I'm trying to get to the bottom of with it to make sure before I start putting a lot of people inside of projects.
Okay, that makes sense. I did notice a difference between the two. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. I had found an example of that arc that I was trying. Oh, this right here is a decent one too. All right, so right here, you see how, let's see, where's our floating candle at? All right, so you see how the WTMA, even though we're off of this cloud a little bit, we're hitting this resistance. That's not a good enough example. So the trades when the WTMA kind of lets you know ahead of time that when you get the trend line break, that it may pull the stock back down quicker, is that even right here, this is not the best example because we had this historical resistance right here. But you see how the WTMA is raising up into the candle, and they're already trying to get back in the inside versus a trade where you have like room after the floating candle. Like here, you see how we got this nice, you know, space between the WTMA and the cloud, and it's not like the candles are already trying to close back in the inside to pull it back down. You can see that the timing of the breakout is going to be shorter lived if you breaking out and you already kind of getting back in the inside of that. WTMA is going to try to snatch the price down once it gets trapped in the inside.
Okay.